decide if a team is headed for the playoffs. Or taking off for vacation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please strap yourself in securely.
It's playoff or takeoff.
All right, Joey.
Washington football team. Playoff or takeoff?
The Washington football team will take off. Alex Smith doesn't play. Since he arrived in Washington, they're 6-26. When Alex Smith does play, they're 10-5. Tyler Heineke will play. 3 picks in his only start years ago for Carolina. Washington loses, they're out.
Cowboys, playoff or takeoff?
Playoff. Inexplicably a playoff. They're playing very well offensively. Andy Dalton in this excellent wide receiving core of Michael Gallup's played well. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. Currently on a 3-game winning streak. They've scored 30-plus points. We knew their offense had firepower. Now Andy's comfortable and reasonably well protected. They will win and be a playoff team.
The Giants, playoff or takeoff?
The New York Giants take off. Even though I was in love with them through the first 8 or 9 weeks, they are not playing well. Daniel Jones came back off an injury and has struggled. Since he returned, he's completing only 56% of his throws. They're the lowest scoring NFC team in the last 5 weeks. The more I burrowed in on this game, I think Dallas wins it just based on the strength of their efficiency and receivers on offense.
How about the Bears?
Bears are takeoff. I know they've been fun, but I think their outer scoreboard is they think they're good. I think their inner scoreboard is they're not going to beat Green Bay. Last 5 years, they're 1-8 against the Packers. I don't think they're a play-from-behind team, and Green Bay is a great take-a-lead team. And their 3-game winning streak, it's been over the awful Texans, the rebuilding Vikings, and the awful Jaguars.
Plus the Packers are playing for the #1 seed. Rams, playoff or takeoff?
Playoff, because they get in, even if they lose. If Green Bay beats the Bears, I think the Rams will get in because Green Bay beats the Bears. They do have the #1 defense in the league. They have the #1 pass defense. So I think if Goff returns, he won't play Sunday. They would be a tough out. They have the ability to win low scoring and ugly. The shootout days appear to be over.
The Cardinals, playoff or takeoff?
I'm going to say playoff. The Cardinals clinch a playoff berth with a win at the Rams. I think they're going to win Sunday. John Wolford is starting for the Rams at quarterback. He's never played in an NFL regular season game. They were struggling with Jared Goff. Also, Kyler Murray had a leg injury. He is now practicing and expected to play. I don't think this is an artistic masterpiece, but I think Arizona becomes a playoff team. And this is what the NFC would look like if my projections are correct. Packers are a #1 seed and get a bye. The #2 Saints host the 7-seeded Rams. I think they would win that. The #3 Seahawks would then host the #6 Arizona Cardinals. I would like Seattle. And then the #4 seeded Cowboys would host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I would take Tampa Bay in a rout in that game. That's my NFC look.
All right, let's go to the AFC. Titans, playoff or takeoff?
The Mercurial Titans hammer the Texans and get in. I still think they're a dangerous playoff team because if Derrick Henry's running downhill, Ryan Tannehill's throwing on play action. I think they're well coached. There are teams they do not match up against. They have no pass rush. The worst pass rush in the playoffs. But I do think they not only beat the Texans, but hammer them Sunday.
How about the Colts?
They've won 4 of their last 5 games. I have not bet them much this year. I did Sunday. I regret it. They're a playoff team. They're going to beat the Jaguars, combined with either a Ravens, Browns, or Dolphins loss. I'll get to that in a second. I think they're one of the weaker playoff teams. I think they're good on the script. Frank Reich and Phillip Rivers on script. I think when you get to second halves, I've seen them wilt in a second half against Baltimore, wilt in a second half against Pittsburgh. They can't do a lot with Phillip Rivers off script. Not very dynamic. So once you get off the plays you've scripted, I think it's a very limited offense. I like Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. They're both kids, though, rookies.
The Ravens, playoff or takeoff?
This is a playoff team. They're going to hammer the Bengals. I think Baltimore can win multiple playoff games. I don't want to hear about Lamar Jackson not being able to throw. He's got a passer rating in his career over 100. He can throw. It's not the prettiest thing. They're on a 4-game winning streak. I think Lamar's playing some of his most nuanced football. I still think he's completely electric as an athlete. I think Greg Roman and Lamar have a certain harmony offensively. I don't think they throw the ball up the sidelines like other teams. But I'll tell you, when they get rolling, watch out, because they can ball control you to death. They're the #1 running team in the league. They're very good on third down. They move the chains. Baltimore, to me, feels absolutely like not only a playoff team, but a playoff team that wins games.
Dolphins, playoff for takeoff.
Crushes my soul, but takeoff. Buffalo at home. Buffalo's going to play Josh Allen. Buffalo wants the #2 seed. Buffalo's playing for something. This is an offense now that is sputtering. That when you ask Tua to do anything other than manage the game, it's very limited. The Bills are a Hail Mary away from being 9-0. I believe they're the best team in the NFL. I think they have something to play for. Now, they will rest starters. The question is it a right guard? Is it an interior lineman? But if they play Josh Allen, I just think they bring the kind of offensive heat that the Dolphins can't duplicate.
Finally, the Browns, playoff for takeoff.
I think they're a playoff team. I think they hammer on Pittsburgh. It's one of my second games I think could get ugly. I felt all year, I predicted they would go to the playoffs. I feel like they're a playoff team. I don't know if they're a playoff winning team. Rookie head coach. You get to the playoffs, most teams outside of the Titans. If they matched up with the Titans, I think they'd win a playoff game. I don't think they'd beat the Colts, although they beat them earlier. I don't think they'd beat the Steelers again with Big Ben back. But I think this is the weekend they win. So my AFC playoff picture would look like this. The Chiefs get a bye. The #2 Bills would hammer the Colts. I think in a playoff game, a rested Big Ben at home would beat Cleveland, although I think this weekend I like Cleveland. A rested Big Ben. By the way, if you watch Big Ben play in the second half, he was a different quarterback. Also, I get a veteran coach, against a rookie head coach. Ravens at Tennessee. I like Baltimore in that one over Tennessee. And there you go. It's weird. I love Cleveland this weekend. Ben played or not. I think they're been a better team. But then when you look at the COVID stuff this weekend and you kind of look, I think the Big Ben, I watched him in the second half, and he did something I hadn't seen in almost 2 months. He was energized. He threw it deep. I don't know if they gave him Red Bulls. I don't know if it was shots. But it's a pretty telling sign they gave Ben the week off. That's a pretty telling sign that his arm, there's a fatigue going on with his arm. So I think Cleveland wins this weekend. But there are a couple of teams. The Colts don't feel like, the Browns don't feel like, Tennessee doesn't feel like, I don't know. There's certain teams that are playoff teams. The Bears don't feel like they could win a playoff game if they got in. I don't think Arizona feels like if they got in, they could win a playoff game. I don't think the Rams right now without Goff could win a playoff game.
No, not without Goff.
Yeah. Like there's 4 or 5 teams that can win the Super Bowl. There's a few teams that can win playoff games, but then